That bridge crossing right there, which we'll walk over to in a moment, is probably arguably ground zero for flooding. This is, if you talk to most of the farmers, this is a giant basin. They sometimes even call it a bathtub. And that's the drain, Pellets Island. This is where the channel starts pinching down. The private and the public landfill, Alturi, and the county landfill get kind of on top of it. Everything starts to narrow down, and also the larger black dirt glacial basin pinches down here. So there's just a couple arms. Some of these folks lost 100% of their crops. It was the timing as well with Irene and Lee. This was entirely a lake here. I actually kayaked this stretch between Irene and Lee. The water was so high I could almost reach up and touch the brand new interstate bridge on Route 17. The water, we weren't sure we could get underneath it, but it took days to get out of here, and it hit just as they were, looking about harvesting, right? So there were grown men crying in meetings. I mean, this was like and the farm community, whatever you make of their practical solutions to how to fix this, are a force to be reckoned with politically. They're incredibly important. They're highly valued. It's as much a heritage as part of the economy. Orange County's next to Columbia County, still the leading agricultural county in the Hudson Valley, easily. It's I don't mean to slight the Dutchess County folks, but these are real farmers. This is what they do for a living. So the new congressman has picked up the notion, let's just fast forward and dredge it. And some people have talked to him. There is no record that dredging is going to do any good. We've had multiple experts here. The farm community believes that'll help, but I don't. They want to channelize it now. A compromise project, I'll say this. For the hazard mitigation money, one thing we know will happen. We're going to buy river gauges, and we're going to buy cameras so we can watch, so that our 911 office can watch this bridge, in a storm and see what happens.
Even if granted, if the farmers were right and dredging all this would do, what does that say about their attitude about Ulster County downstream? Oh, we'll just let it all go down and flood Ulster County. That seems to be kind of unneighborly.
Yeah. No, I'm pleased they're actually sensitive about that. They bring it up. I don't know if they do it for my case, because as John knows, I live in Ulster County. But they get it. They actually they blame flooding on New Jersey, funny enough. They've made the connection that if their problem here is upstream, they shouldn't create a downstream problem. It's been kind of an interesting connect the dots thing. So they get it with Ulster. They have to study that. But they want this blockage out of here. One is a simple, spend a couple $100, $300 get some good technology out here so we can at least have early warnings. Flooding, we'll do that. That's also supported by the campus. It says you're farming the floodplain. What'd you expect? Nothing, no computer model, no expert that's come here says that these big floods are fixable. It's just we can only mitigate them in a minor way. There's another camp that wants to do, all right, this is our only chance. We've had these horrible floods. Let's do something big now. We haven't been able to do anything since the 80s. While most of the models are showing for blowing up bedrock outcrops, for pulling out trees, for dredging, it's all localized, small-scale stuff. 2 and 10-year floods, it'll help the flooding right in this neighborhood if we were to dredge right here and knock that rock outcrop. But it won't solve the real flooding problem. None of this will. But they're pitching an idea of creating benches on the existing channel. So in the channelized stretch, which is past where you just were, just on the other side of Route 17M, which some of you probably can't picture, so downstream, returns to the original channel, I don't know, Mike, maybe 3 miles now, 4, something like that. And then up here for a good 10 or 12 miles, it's channelized. They're proposing in just the channelized area, and the computer model's showing maybe it's cost beneficial. It's going to be complicated because someone brought up if we take material out, it could be contaminated, then the costs balloon. But basically, if this is the river, they would put benches on both banks So they wouldn't go in the river proper. They'd go in the channelized area, which is both sides of which are an easement owned by New York State.